She finish at 9? Yeah. It's up to you, 9:15. Shri Guru Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Om Gyana Timanandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshumilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prachadine Nivesesa Shunyavadi Paschachadi Shatadine Panchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindubhyaevacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So I'm not going to explain the song. There's a translation along with it. The time's a little short this morning, but usually we like to discuss the song. Shubhadina Subhakshana Purnimarati. Fagunera Subhanishi Nimakara Juti. Fagunera Subhanishi Nimakara Juti. Rahu Chandra Gadasaye Adbhuta Bele. Rahu Chandra Utila Chotiga Bari Hari Hari Bole. Utila Chotiga Bari Hari Hari Bole. Chodiga Baralara Dibya Charu Ganda. Chodiga Parasana Dasa Diga Vayumanda Manda. Sadaritu Udaya Bhaya Gela Sekale Sadaritu Udaya Bhaya Gela Se Prabhu Subha Janma Priti Vitihena Bele Antarikshe Devagana Dibya Jane Chahe Gauranga Jeki Bhare Anurage Datra Ekamatra Shunidvani Hari Hari Bola Shanmamatra Prakasha Korila Prabhu Mora Korila Prabhu Mora Sachira Angane Bela Vaikunta Sampada Anandevi Bala Sachi Ole Gada Dada Jagannatha Panditere Dake Hata Sane Janama Shapala Deka Prutrera Bhayane Puranari Gana Jaya Jaya Dehi Shuke Puran Jaya Jaya Dehi Shuke Anandevi Bada Shabe Dekhiya Balake Vedadeva Nagakanya Sabai Aila Vikiya Goranga Jaya Jaya Dvani Kaila Goragara Gagariva Gande Varila Brahmanda Gora Gagarima Gande Pratyanga Rasa Rasi Amiyatanda Dekite Shabhara Judaila Nayana Shabhara Mane Hoila Brajanagari Prana Subhadina Subhakshana Purnimada Titi Subhadina Subhadina Subhakshana Purnimada Titi. Hey. Fagunera Subha Nisibolo Fagunera Subha Nisibolo Fagunera Subha Nisi Fagunera Subha Nisi Nimakara Juti Nimakara Juti Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Bolo Bolo Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Hey! Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Gora Hai, 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 Gora Hai. Jai Sachinandana Gaura Hari, Jai Sachinandana Gaura Hari, Nana Gaura Hari, Jai Sachinandana Gaura, Jai Sachinandana Gaura Hari, Jai Sachinandana Gaura Hari, Jai Sachinandana Gaura Hari, Jai Sachinandana Gaura Hari. Jai Nitai, Jaya Gaur, Jaya Nitai, Jaya Gaur, Jaya Gaur, Jaya Nitai, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Gaura Haribo. Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Haribo. Shri Guru Nitai Gaur Premanandi, Haribo. Srila Prabhupada ki, Shri Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki, Shri Premdata Nityananda Prabhu ki, Shri Prem Purushottam Sachinandana Gaura Hari ki, Shri Gaurapurnima Maha Mahotsava ki, Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bol, Bolo Giriraj Maharaj ki. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Glories to Srila Prabhupada. Gauragra Ganya Gana Gotra Goloruharam Gauranga Gudatama Gopyara Kolpa Briksham Gopala Gada Ratidam Yati Singha Gora Govinda Deshi Kavaram Satatam Namami Uttama Adama Kichuna Bachila Jachia Dileka Kola Kahe Premananda Hemona Gauranga Hridoya Dariya Bola Bhaja Gauranga Kaha Gauranga Laha Gaurangera Nama Re Bolo Bhaja Gauranga Laha Gaurangera Namare Chejana Gauranga Bhaje Se Hoyamara Pranare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Yashaiva Padambuja Bhakti Labhya Prema Bidana Padama Pumata Tasmai Jagan Mangala Mangalaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste Madgavirapi Gopala Sri Kuryat Kripaya Judi Tadaiva Sambhaya Pidva Rishayustat Priya Janaha Shri Krishna Krishna Chaitanya Sasanatana Rupaka Gopala Raghunathabda Brajabala Bapahimam Vancha kalpatarubhyascha Kripa sindhu bhyevacha Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Brinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So I want to thank Braj Sundar Prabhu and the devotees here for what you're doing. It's very, very important. We had a group of devotees recently. We took on parikrama to Alarnath in Orissa. And one of the senior devotees asked a question, interesting question. He said, how is it that I spoke to some Jagannath Panda and I found out he's a Mayavadi? How is that possible? And we'd done Harinam to this place in the forest where we were speaking there at Alarnath. And I asked the devotees, how many of you noticed on the way here all the Tulsi Stambhas? Many of them, yes, practically outside of every house there's a Tulsi Stambha. And then I asked them, how many of you noticed some writing underneath the Tulsi Stambha? They didn't notice that. It's in Oriya. And I said, do you know what that writing is? It says 16 words. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It's a Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna mantra is very famous in Orissa. They have a nice song, which we sometimes mention. Rama Nama Ladua, Krishna Nama Gi, Hari Nama Kandakira, Gori Gori Pi. That the name of Lord Ram is like a nice ladu. Rama Nama Ladua, Krishna Nama Gi. Krishna Nama is like some nice ghee. Hari Nama is like Kandakira, sweet rice. So you take the Rama Nama Ladua, the Krishna Nama Gi, the Hari Nama Kandakira, and Gori Gori. You mix it all up and pi. You drink that. You'd be interested perhaps to note that in Orissa, even amongst the Smarta Brahmins, the Hare Krishna mantra is very popular. Smarta Brahmins means basically impersonalists. In fact, it's part of the wedding ceremonies that they do. The bride gets initiated in the Hare Krishna mantra. And basically in every village in Orissa, They have Astapahara Kirtan for every Maha Mantra for every Ekadasi, etc. So with so much chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra going on, how is it that a Panda is an impersonalist? And this is something which brings me to our point here today with all of you. There's two things. We have Krishna and Krishna Shakti, and you can't separate the two from each other. And so similarly, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said that Abhinatva Nama Nam, Krishna is non-different from his name. And Radharani is non-different from Krishna Katha. And just as we don't want to separate Radha from Krishna, we don't want to separate Krishna Nam from Krishna Katha. And if you do, then you may have what goes on in Orissa. So many people chanting Hare Krishna, but they don't know Siddhanta. Yesterday Maharaj was speaking wonderfully about the connection between the Bhagavatam and the holy name. In the first canto of the Bhagavatam, there's a famous verse, Idam Bhagavata Nama Puranam Brahma Samhitam, which Srila Prabhupada basically translates that this Purana, which is named the Bhagavat, this is Brahma Samhitam, Puranam Brahma Samhitam. It's the essence of all the Vedic literatures. But Srila Sanatana Goswami in one place gives another explanation of this, and depends on how you break the Sandhi. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Purana. This Bhagavatam is a Nam Purana. And Anvaya Vyatirekabhyam Yat Shat Sarvata Sarvada, either directly or indirectly, the entire Bhagavatam is about Nam. Now, some people, just like some musicians, they never learn to read sheet music. And they may be a great genius. But most people, they need to learn to read music to be able to play. So similarly, some persons may just be perfect in Nam from the very beginning. But we have this philosophy, and this is meant to help us to chant. So today, we're observing the festival of Jagannath Mishra, and I wanted to just to say a few words, our time's a little short, what it means to worship Gauranga Mahaprabhu, what it means to worship the Acharyas in the line of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. So yesterday Maharaj was speaking a little something from the 7th chapter of Adi Leela. I'd like to continue a little bit of that. And we can sing this, and you can chant Hare Krishna in response. This is text 72. Mahaprabhu speaks to Prakashananda Saraswati. Murkatumi tomara nahika vedantadikar Krishna mantra japa sada e mantra sahe Hare Krishna Hare Krishna. He said that my Guru Maharaj told me, Murkatumi, you're a fool. Tomar nahika Vedanta adhikar. You have no adhikar, no qualification for Vedanta. This is that personality, is Vedanta Vedavid Evachaham. He's the source of Vedanta. He's the knower of Vedanta. But Ishvara Puri is telling him, you don't have qualification for Vedanta. And what does it mean? We could say two things. One thing is for Lokasiksha, the Bahiranga Karan, the external cause, to teach us that we shouldn't think that we have adhikar for Vedanta in this age. And the Antaranga Karan, the internal cause, Gauranga Mahaprabhu is Bhakta Rup, and he wants to taste the mood of being a devotee. So to do that, he should take shelter of Nam. Yapratiyatu sadhuna. Krishna tells the gopis in the Naparayaham Nirvajyasam Yujam verse, I can't repay my debt to you. Yapratiyatu sadhuna. Let your own behavior be your reward. And what is the behavior of the gopis? The behavior of the gopis is loud chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Contrary to what some people think, the gopis, when they show up in the kunj before Radharani, they're not chanting Radhe, 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 Shamil, Radhe, Shamil. They don't do like that. If they do like that, Radharani, she may say, what noise are you making? Go away. But when they come and they chant Krishna, Krishna, then Radharani becomes very pleased. The Chaitanya Charitamrita describes Tate Krishna Bhaji Kore Gururu Sevan. What is our Krishna Bhajan? Our Krishna bhajan is our Guru Seva. What is my Guru Seva? My Guru Seva is doing Krishna bhajan. I can't separate that from my Gurudev. Otherwise, Ata Shri Krishna Namadi Nabhavid Graim Indriya. With my Indriya, my Panchagyan Indriya, I can't perceive spirit. I can only perceive Panchatan Matra, something material. Ata Shri Krishna Nama Adi, beginning with Krishna's name and Krishna's form, Krishna's abode, his associates, I can't understand them with my senses. But Sevanmukhi Jivado. The next line completely contradicts the previous line. Sevanmukhi Jivado. Jivado, with your tongue, which, is one of the Panchagyanendriya. With my tongue, rendering service, Sevanmukhi Jivado, Swayameva Sparatyada. Then it becomes manifest. So when we render service to Gurudev, and it's a long discussion, but this is the mystery of first initiation, what I call the mystery. Otherwise, how is it someone gets initiation into a mantra they're already chanting? We've never heard of that. Huh? How is it someone gets initiated into a mantra and the Guru doesn't speak the mantra in their ear? So what is the meaning of the first initiation? If you say, it's just something to make you feel good, we won't be happy with that. Huh? It doesn't make us feel pleased. But if we understand, it's the Guru is accepting the disciple. And as Raghunath Das Goswami describes, Nama Shreshtam Manamapi Sachiputram. My Gurudev gave me Nama Shreshtam. Jiva Goswami says there's two types of Nam. Sneha Samyukta Nam and Kebala Nam. Kebala Nam is in the dictionary. But we want Sneha Samyukta Nam, which comes from a conception. And therefore there's a symbiotic connection between Krishna Kirtan and Krishna Katha. And therefore Srila Prabhupada, he would do Kirtan, then Katha, and then Kirtan. The first Kirtan you do, Chaito Darpanam Arjanam, it opens up your chakras, or whatever they say in New Age things. It purifies your consciousness and allows some sound to enter into the heart. And then we hear Krishna Katha from the lips of a devotee, and that enters into our heart, and we have some conception of who we're speaking about. That's Nama Shreshtam. And then again we do Kirtan, and what comes out is what we just brought in. And therefore, Rupa Goswami, in the beginning of Laghu Bhagavatamrita, he gives a famous verse, Sri Chaitanya Mukod Girna, Hare Krishneti Varnakaha, Majiganta Jagat Premni, Vijayanti Tadavaya. That Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he gave the Hare Krishna Mahamantra to everyone. And that's why someone may chant it before initiation, because it's freely given everywhere. And what mantra did he give? That Hare Krishna mantra is there in every Kali Yuga. In fact, Bhaktivinoda Thakur describes, and also it's described in the 6th canto of Bhagavatam, that the rishis in Satya Yuga, they also know about Nam Kirtan. They just don't do it because they think yajna is really cool. Yajna is the thing, but Nam, that's not so important. They're thinking like that. Mahamantra is always there. But what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give is Premanam Sankirtan, with a conception. And so that's the mystery of that first initiation. And this is how we worship Gauranga Mahaprabhu. So to teach us, he tells Prakashananda Saraswati, greatest scholar of his time, Murkatumi, my Gurudev told me, you're a fool. Tomar nahika Vedanta adhikar. You have no adhikar for Vedanta Sutra. Rather, Krishna mantra japasada. You should constantly chant Krishna mantra, a mantra sa. That's the essence of all mantras. Srila Prabhupada describes in his purport, Sri Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj comments in this connection, quote, one can become perfectly successful in the mission of his life if he acts exactly according to the words he hears from the mouth of his spiritual master, end of quote. This acceptance of the words of the spiritual master is called Shrota Vakya, which indicates that the disciple must carry out the spiritual master's instructions without deviation. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur remarks in this connection that a disciple must accept the words of his spiritual master as his life and soul, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu here confirms this by saying that since his spiritual master ordered him only to chant the holy name of Krishna, he always chanted the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra according to this direction. Krishna Mantra, Japa Sada, A Mantra Sar. So, Krishna Varnam Tusha Krishnam Sangopangashta Barshadam Yagyai Sankirtana Praya Yajantihi Sumedasaha. For those persons who are Sumedasaha, who have a little bit of a brain, Krishna says Alpameda Sa in Gita, persons who have no brain. They're worshiping the devatas or doing other things. But for someone who's Sumedasa, they worship Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by chanting the holy names of Krishna. And this is the way to please Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is the Sankirtan Yagya, which Lochan Das Thakur describes very wonderfully also in his Chaitanya Mangal. That Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu one day was sitting on a divine seat. He spoke to his followers and he told them, Mora e Sankirtana Jagyara Mahima Sarva Shastre Kahe Iha Mahima Garima Bolo Hare Krishna. Mora e Sankirtan Yagya. He said, this is my Sankirtan Yagya. Mora e Sankirtan Yagya. Mahima, you should understand, it's so glorious. Sarva Shastri Kahi Ihara Mahima Garima. All the Shastras describe the glories of the Sankirtan movement. Sarva Dharma Sare Sankirtana Dharma Vishesha Jani Be Kali Juge E Karma He Hare Krishna. So this is Gauranga Mahaprabhu speaking to the devotees, telling them how to worship him. Sarva Dharma Sar. The essence of all Dharma, a Sankirtana Dharma, is the Sankirtan movement. Vishesha Jani Be Kali Juga E Karma. And you should know that especially it's meant for Kali Yuga. Gani Jai Kori Se Prabodha Hai Iya Gana Rupe Bedira Uchare Mahadaya He Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Gani Jai Kori Se Prabodha Hai. Anyone who chants Krishna's name, that person can get enlightenment. Gana Rupe Bedira Uchare Mahadaya. The Vedas, they glorify, they give their mercy to that person who does that. Now, at this point, you may say, but I really like Yagya. It's really cool, Swaha idam Vishnave idam namama. It's just really something very attractive. So if you say this is a Yagya, the Nam Yagya, how is it a Nam Yagya? And Mahaprabhu explains. Sabaloka Karna Garta Kunda Parisar Jiva Shrava Dvani Rasa Grita Manohar He Hare Krishna Hare Krishna. Sabaloka Karna Garta Kunda Parisar. You need a kunda to do yagya. Sabaloka Karna, everybody's ear in the universe, that's the kund for this yagya. Not just the devotees here in the room, but we should take this outside. Everybody should hear this. This is part of this yagya Mahaprabhu is instructing. Okay, so then what is the shrava? What is the spoon? Jiva Shrava, it's your tongue. Jiva Shrava, Dvani Rasa Grihita Manohar. And speaking Krishna's glories, Krishna Katha, that's the Grihita Manohar, that's the ghee. Because the ghee keeps the fire going very nicely. Krishna Katha keeps the ghee of our Sankirtan Yagya going very, very nicely. Both things need to be there. Antare Pravishahana Bhava Agni Jvale Agni Siksha Pulakashru Kampa Kalivare He Hare Krishna. So you take that jiva shrava, that the tongue, the spoon of your tongue, and you pour the ghee of Krishna Nam, Krishna Kirtan. You pour that into the ear, the Sabaloka Karna, Garta Kunda Parisar. And then that ghee goes through the ear and it enters into the heart. And there's a fire in the heart. That's the fire. Agni Sikshapula, that's the fire. Bhava Agni Jvale, it's the fire of Bhav, the fire of devotion in the heart. And when that ghee goes on that fire of bhakti, the ghee of the holy name of Krishna Katha, then that fire starts burning very strong. And then what happens? What happens if you have a fire going on inside your body? You start shaking, you start sweating. Pulakashu, kampa, kalevari, all the different ecstatic symptoms appear in the body then. Sarva pape mukta hoya shaba jana nache. Salokyadi mukti ta fide pache pache. Hare Krishna. Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So this is this Nam Yagya. You do this Yagya, then Sarva Papi Mukta Hoy Sabajana Nachi. Everybody in the universe, they'll become free from sin. And Hoy Sabajana Nachi, they'll all start dancing. You'll have the Russian soldiers invading the Ukraine. And they start doing kirtan, and suddenly the Ukrainian soldiers and the Russian soldiers start dancing together everywhere. This is a real peace formula, Srila Prabhupada said. Solokyari mukti tara firi pachi pachi. And all the different types of mukti, beginning with Solokya, they're following along behind very, very obediently. Don't worry about doing some Agnihotra. You do Nam Yagya. And he goes on to say, Say Jagya Bediya Rahe Vaishnava Acharya Jani Be Kirtana Yagya Sarva Yagya Arya He Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare. And if you do this Yagya, you're not going to be alone. Say Jagya Bediya Rahe Vaishnava Acharya. All the Vaishnava Acharyas are going to be there with you to do this yagya. And therefore, Jani Be Kirtan Yagya, you should know this Kirtan Yagya, Sarva Yagya Arya, this is the best of all the yagyas. Gadadhara Pandita Premira Grihini Tattva Jani Be Shakala Bhakta Mani Hey Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So who's the deity of this yagya? Who's the goddess? Gadadhar Pandit Premira Grihini. He's the goddess. Tattva Jani Be Shakala Bhakta Mani. He controls this prema in this yagya. And you should understand, he says, Tattva Jani Be Shakala Bhakta Mani. Oh, jewel-like devotees. You should understand these tattvas. We should understand the importance of the Sankirtan Yagya and the significance of it. Advaita Acharya Gosai Amare Anina Sankirtana Yagya Stape Sudrada Hoya He Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Advaita Acharya Gosai Amare Anina. Advaita Acharya, he brought me here. He's Mahavishnu avatar. He has to establish the Yuga Dharma. So therefore, Sankirtana Yagya Stape. When you have a Yagya, you have a Stapa, you have a pillar. Traditionally, as part of the Yagya. He's the pillar of the Sankirtan Yagya because he established this. Srinivasa Narahari Adi Bhakta Gan Toshabadi Lanamora Yagya Rastapan Hey Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare. He says that Srivas Thakur, Narahari Sakar, Lochandas Thakur sneaks his Guru Maharaj's name in here. His Guru Maharaj told him, you don't write about me. But here and there he sneaks in his name. Narahari Sakar was actually perhaps the very first person to begin writing about Gaura Leela. And before Chaitanya Bhagavat or Chaitanya Mangala, he was writing songs about Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Srinivasa Narahari Adi Bhaktagan, Srivas Thakur, Narahari Sakar, Adi, etc., all these other devotees, all these Bhaktagan, Tasa Bharat Lana Mora Yagyara Stapan. All of them, they helped to put on this Sankirtan Yagya. This is the kirtan of our sampradaya. And all the acharyas are engaged in this, trying to serve Gauranga Mahaprabhu. So Mahaprabhu then he finishes his instructions about the Sankirtan Yagya. Hey Jagya Kali Kali Deha Gade Gade Taruka Shakala Loka Patita Pamare Hare Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare
Hey
Hare.
Yagya Kali Kali Deha Gade Gade. And this Kali Yuga, you take the Sankirtan Yaga to every door. In Los Angeles, we were part of the temple there on Watsika Avenue. And it's a big community. There are many, many different buildings. And we like to go out in Harinam very much. But sometimes there wasn't time to drive to Venice Beach or wherever we used to go. So we just grab a few devotees and we do kirtan, just wandering around the neighborhood. And we go into the apartment buildings and do kirtan and here and there. So, Deha Gade Gade. We should go to everyone's house and do kirtan, even the devotees' houses. And they become very, very happy. Taruka Shakala Loka Patita Pamare. This kirtan, this is Taraka. This is what's going to deliver the people in this age. Shakala Loka Patita Pamare. It's going to deliver everyone. So this is a Nam Yagya. Nama Yagya Mahayagya. This Nam Yagya is a great Yagya. Nama Yagya Mahayagya. A Kalo Kalmasanasanam. It destroys all the faults in Kali Yuga. Krishna Chaitanya Prityate Nama Yagya Samarpana. This is a Samarpana mantra that we use to offer our japa, our chanting to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because it's meant for his pleasure. And therefore Jagadananda Pandit in Prema Vivarta, he describes, Gorara ami muke bolile nachale, Gorara achara, Gorara prachara loile fala fale. Some people, they're jumping up and down saying, Gorara ami, Gorara ami. I'm a Gauranga Mahaprabhu devotee. Muke bolila nacha. They're just speaking from their lips. But that person, Gaurara Achar, who has a behavior that Gauranga Mahaprabhu gave, and Gaurara Prachar, who does the preaching that Gauranga Mahaprabhu gave, that person really gets loy fale fale. He gets the real fruit of being a devotee of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. So Gauranga Mahaprabhu, he instructed the devotees to do Krishna Kirtan. In Chaitanya Bhagavat, he describes, Chadiyama pratisneha tape sabakar, tabe Krishna vyakti rikta nagahi beha.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare
Jadiyami pratisneha. If you love me, then you love my instructions. You do what I tell you. Tabe Krishna Bhakti Rikta Nagai Bihar. Don't chant my name. There are some devotees I've seen. They say, we have a great secret. We know something better than what Srila Prabhupada gave. We know something better than what Gauranga Mahaprabhu gave. And what is that thing which is better? You chant Gauranam. Because if you chant Krishna Nam, it's very difficult. There's so many offenses. But Gauranam is very easy. And even better than that is Nittai Nam. And even better than that, you just kind of write it in the air. That's even better yet. Where is that in Shastra? Oh, this is my ecstatic revelation. But Srila Prabhupada, he says, we should follow our Guru Janas. And there's a reason why we chant Krishna Nam. I've heard a story, I don't know, I haven't read this, but I've heard a story. Whether it's historically accurate, I don't know, but the point is good. That once some devotees spoke to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati at Radhakund. They said, Guru Maharaj, you have one disciple here, he's so advanced. He stopped chanting Krishna Nam. He's so advanced. And now he's just chanting Radhe, 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 Radhe. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, quoting Brahmavivarta Purana, I can't recall the verses, he said that, it's very powerful. If you chant the two syllables, Radha, as soon as you chant the syllable Ra, then Krishna becomes ecstatic. And when you chant the syllable Da, he comes chasing after you. So that's good. If you chant Radha, Krishna will come running to you. And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta then said, but we have a better program. We chant the name Krishna, and someone else comes running. Shrimati Radharani. This is the kirtan of our sampradaya. Our kirtan is done for the pleasure of Radha. And Radharani, she doesn't want to hear Radhe, Radhe. Gauranga Mahaprabhu, sometimes we chant his name. Sometimes we chant the name Radha, Radha. But our primary sadhana is chanting 16 words. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
And Mahaprabhu said, Murka to me. My Guru Maharaj told me, you're a fool. You don't know anything. Krishna mantra sar, this Krishna mantra, this is sar, this is everything. This is the order Mahaprabhu's Guru gave him. But now I know something better than Mahaprabhu's Guru. My pranams to you from a distance. So Mahaprabhu is saying, if you love me, you love my instructions. You chant Krishna Nam. And this is the kirtan of our sampradaya. In the Bhakti Ratnakar, there's a wonderful story which I want to finish with. In Kituri Gram, they had the first Gaura Purnima festival. So on this day, this is actually the day the devotees worship Gauranga Mahaprabhu. This is the festival Jagannath Mishra. So in Kituri Gram, it was a very special festival, and different scholars have written about this. It had great impact on our Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. Because prior to this festival, there was a lot of different ideas. Some of the followers of Advaita Acharya, they were saying that he's Bhagavan, and Mahaprabhu's not. Or Advaita Acharya is good, and Nityananda Prabhu he's not. And then some of the followers of Nityananda were saying something else, and there were many different ideas. So they all came together under the guidance of one Acharya, who was Janava Mata, the wife of Nityananda Prabhu. And she straightened things out philosophically. And in that festival, she empowered Narottam Das Thakur to do kirtan. And it's described in chapter 10 of Bhakti Ratnakar, what went on there. Narottama pani kripa drishche nirakiya Najane ki shakti sancharila drishta hoya hey.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
First point in this kirtan. This is how they worship Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Narottam Das Thakur, he was sitting and getting ready to do kirtan, and Janava Mata says, Narottam Pani Kripa Drishti Nirakar, that she gave him her Kripa Drishti. She glanced at him with mercy. Without the merciful glance of our Guru Janas, we can't do anything. We're just proud. And we may say, well, I don't need Gurudev. Krishna. I have Krishna Nam. But Abhinatva Nama Nam, Krishna Nam is Krishna. And Krishna, he says that in the Adi Purana, what's the verse? Ye me bhakta jana parta. Na me bhakta sate janaha. Those people say they're my devotee. I don't know who they are. They're not my devotees. But mad bhaktanam chaye bhaktas te me bhakta tamomata. That person is a devotee of my devotee. He's my real devotee. This is the Sankirtan Yagya of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. So Narottam Das Thakur got that mercy from Janava Mata and gave him this Shakti, which Najani ki Shakti Sanchila Jistahoy. Common people couldn't understand what kind of Shakti he'd gotten from her. And at that time, Sri Achyutananda Prabhu, Advaita Tanaya, the son of Advaita Acharya, Achyutananda Prabhu, Narottama Ati Anugraha Vishtar. He gave him his anugraha, his blessing, so that Vishtar, he could expand. In other words, Achyutananda blessed him that now you can expand this kirtan. Shakala Mahanta Priya Narottam Prati. All the Mahants who were present there, they gave their blessings to Narottam Das Thakur. Sankirtana Arambe Dilina Anumati. And this is the Arambe, this is the beginning of the Sankirtan movement, when we have the blessings of the devotees. Shinarottama Priya Parikara Gana Shakale Gita Nitya Bhaje Vikshakshana Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Narottam Thakur's parikars, his associates, they were Priya Parikar Gana. They were very, very dear to him. Shakale Gita Nitya Vadya Vichakshana. They were all very expert musicians. Music is something a little close to bhakti. Sometimes we speak to outside people and we describe how the closest thing to devotion or to bhakti in the material world is art. And the culmination of art is music. And that's, some people say that's why India has this name, Bharat. What does Bharat mean? Bharat's the name of a king, but Bharat also is a compound word of three things, Ba, Ra, and Ta. What does it mean? Bhav, Rag, and Tal. The first thing is there should be some bhav. That's the most important thing in music. And the second thing is should be rag. That's a little less subtle. And the third thing is tal. There should be some mridanga beat. Those things are going on. So Devi Das was a very expert mridanga player. He was sitting on the left side of Narottam Das Thakur, and he began to play the mridanga. That's weak. Diktan, diktan, dikitan, diktan, diktan, dikitan. Okay, something. Because when we began, first we let the instrument speak, especially the mridanga, because it's Nityananda Prabhu. Let him speak for himself first, and then maybe we'll play along. And then little by little, all the other musical instruments began to join in. And each one of those musical instruments seemed to be speaking words which were full of prema. And then Narottam Das Thakur gradually began to sing. And the other devotees were repeating what he was singing. And Narottam, he looked like a moon surrounded by many, many stars. And they were completely absorbed in this kirtan. And the kirtan, he begins, first you do pranam to Gurudev, and then to the Vaishnavas, after Gurudev, and then you do pranam to Nityananda Prabhu, then to Gauranga Mahaprabhu, then to Radha Krishna. This is a system that Narottam Das Thakur taught us. And so they began the kirtan, and Kandabasi Sri Raghunandan Das, he offered chandan, sandalwood paste to the mridanga, and flower garlands to the mridanga and the kartals. And then the personal associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they all embraced Narottam Das Thakur. And they garland Narottam and all the different singers, because they're going to be instruments of the Lord. And this, just like I remember when I first came to Orissa in 1993, and I was watching my Guru Maharaj give class, and the devotees would come and offer him a mala. In fact, they would offer maybe 20 or 30 malas a day. So many, he'd have to take them off because they would cover his whole head. And he put them over here. But each time they would offer a garland, all the devotees in the whole room would offer obeisances. And I thought, these guys are a bunch of fanatics or something. I didn't understand. And later I spoke to someone and he said, no, because we're all offering that garland. Because we should empower that personality. It's not that the speaker in a Vaishnav Sangha wants to be someone special, or the kirtan leader is like a great musician, he's a rock star or something. That's very painful for the devotees. But we work together as a Sangha. And when the devotees give some ashirvad, some blessing, then as a service we speak. Then as a service we do kirtan. And Narottam Das Thakur and his associates, they accepted the malas and the blessings in that way. And then they began singing. And Janavi Ishwara, the wife of Nityananda Prabhu, hearing the songs about her husband, Nityananda Prabhu and Gauranga Mahaprabhu, she began to cry in ecstasy. And little by little, Achyutananda and Sripati Srinidhi and so many other devotees who were present there, they lost control of their emotions. Usually devotees are very stoic and controlled in their, but they lost control of their emotions. And they all began to shiver in ecstasy, and they began to cry. And at that time, the flowers started showering down from the sky. The demigods were showering flowers. And Narottam Das Thakur, Narad Muni and different rishis, they came there in disguise to also take part in the kirtans, like Srila Prabhupada once in London, in Albert Hall. He started chanting, Narada Muni Bijayvina. All of a sudden, and Jamuna couldn't figure out, what is, and she asked Prabhupada later, why did you, he said, you didn't see? Narad Muni came to the kirtan. It's a very special thing. So little by little, that kirtan of Narottam Das Thakur became like the ocean, and the ocean began to overflow its banks. And all the people there in that kirtan, they forgot all about their bodies. They forgot all about their problems. They forgot all about their home in Ukraine, or this or that. They just forgot about everything. And listening to that kirtan, suddenly Gauranga Mahaprabhu, he appeared there, along with Nityananda and Srivas Thakur and Gadadhar Pandit and Advaita, and they began to dance. And all the different associates of Mahaprabhu appeared there. And the devotees who were doing that kirtan, they could see that going on. It was a good kirtan. And they were very, very astonished. This is the worship of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. We do this kirtan with the blessings of the devotees, accepting their mood, not in the mood of being a rock star musician or this or that, but doing it as a service for the pleasure of the Vaishnavas. And the people who were present there, they were astonished. Everyone began to cry. And even there were a group of atheists who had come there to make fun of the devotees. Yeah, we heard they're going to have their program. Let's get together. We're going to go and laugh at them. And they were standing there. And they saw Gauranga Mahaprabhu also, and Nityananda Prabhu. And they had an attitude adjustment. And they began to cry in ecstasy. And then all of a sudden, all those devotees disappeared. And everyone began to cry. Keha kahe kota gela Prabhu Gora Chandra. Keha kahe kota Shri Advaita Nityananda. Keha kahe Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Kota Gela Prabhu Gora, where's Gauranga Mahaprabhu? Kota Shri Advaita Nityananda, where's Nitai? Where's Advaita? Keha Kohe Kota Shri Pandita Gadadhar. Keha Kohe Kota Hari Dasa Vakreshwar. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Where's Gadadhar Pandit? We just saw him. Where's Haridas Thakur? He was just here dancing with Mahaprabhu. Where's Vikeshwar Pandit? We saw him just a moment before. He was jumping and leaping and spinning around in the air. Keha kahe kota gela Shivas Murari. Keha kohe kukta Shimakunda Nara Hare He. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Where's Shivas Thakur Murari? We just saw them. Kota Shri Mukunda Narahari. Where's Mukunda? Where is Narahari? We just saw them. Keha he Kota Gauri Das Gadadha. Keha he Kota Shri Swarup Damodar. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Where's Gauri Das Pandit? Where's Gadadhar Das? We just saw them here. Kota Shri Swarup Damodar. Where's Swarup Damodar Goswami? All of them appeared. They were all dancing with Mahaprabhu, and suddenly they disappeared. And the devotees cried, Keha kohe ganasha Prabhu deka diya. Kota gela bole kande bhume lotaiya he. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram,
Ram Ram Hare
And
Hare.
all the persons present there, they began to cry and cry, and they started rolling on the ground, crying and crying. This is the kirtan of Narottam Das Thakur. This is the worship of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. This is the kirtan of our sampradaya. A mantra sar, it's a source of all mantras. It's the essence of all mantras. Murkatumi, Tomara Vedanta Nahika Adhikar. We don't have, Mahaprabhu, he doesn't have Adhikar for Vedanta because he wants to taste Radha Bhav. And if you want to taste Radha Bhav, this Vedanta stuff is going to get in the way. He doesn't have qualification for it. And he's teaching us that before Gurudev, we should be a fool. And we shouldn't make up our own mantras. Krishna mantra sar, this Krishna mantra, this is the essence of everything. This is the kirtan of our sampradaya. This is the worship of Gauranga Mahaprabhu. And I've gone too long, and I'm going to get in trouble. So I'm going to stop there. You have any comments, or should we, is it time?
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. You, by your wonderful lecture and kirtan, you took all of us to Kheturi without ticket.
Without tickets.
We are not here. We are just there only, immersed in the narration, wonderful narration. In the beginning of the class, you mentioned about Idam Bhagavata Nama Purana, wonderful explanation. I keep hearing from spiritual master Radha Govind Maharaj. So the way he says, and his followers, I see that why they recite the verses every day, chapter a day, number of chapters a day. So now this verse actually says that Idam Bhagavata Nama Purana. Actually, these verses are none different from Nama. And here we are in a Bhagavad Vidyalaya, we teach Bhagavatam. So I also try to make sure that whenever I give class to the students, I recite the chapter first in the beginning, then we discuss. That's a reconfirmation from you. Wonderful you said. And also the second point you said that I was thinking that this point since the beginning, who is that spiritual master actually who said to Mahaprabhu that you are a fool number one? Or is that the saying, way of saying like that Mahaprabhu is humbly expressing in that way? Can you just
How can we understand Ishwara Puri speaking like this to Mahaprabhu?
Yeah, which spiritual master, whether it's Ishwara Puri or Kesava Bharati, which guru said to him that you are a fool number one?
It doesn't say directly. We presume at this point, this is before Mahaprabhu, we presume that it's Ishwara Puri. That's his primary guru. In any case, there's a principle that Guru is heavy. He's not lagu. He's not light. And Guru has a right to chastise. Guru Karnadara, he has a right to grab a hold of the ear of the disciple and chastise him. And so to teach us, Mahaprabhu is saying, we don't know if Ishwara Puri actually called him a murka or not. But Mahaprabhu is teaching us a principle that before my Gurudev, I'm a murk. I don't know anything. My Gurudev, the instructions of my Gurudev is all that I have. And I have no adhikar for Vedanta. Yesterday, Bhakti Vigyan Maharaj gave a wonderful class in the evening, and he spoke about the pastime of Keshwar Kashmiri and how Mahaprabhu defeated him, but in a very, very sweet way, in a private way, not in public, which would kill him. And Mahaprabhu, he said there's a deep purport to this, and this is before Mahaprabhu went to Gaya. He defeated Keshwar Kashmiri, and then all of a sudden now he may become very famous as the big pundit who defeated Keshwar Kashmiri. But to teach us that Gyan, that information is not so important. And what is important is Vigyan. He left that place and he went to Gaya. And he went to Gaya, and there in Gaya he met Ishwara Puri. And Ishwara Puri, we know just prior to that in Navadvip, Ishwara Puri had shared his book, Krishna Lila, Krishna Vijay. That's by Gunaraj Khan. Yeah. I think it's Krishna lilamrita, right? Krishna lilamrita, which, if anyone can find that book, as far as I know, it's lost. We've been searching for that for many, many years. Anyway, he showed him this book, and the book was full of errors, the same kind of errors that he just corrected Kesha Kashmiri about. And Mahaprabhu pointed out, practically every verse has 10 mistakes or so, and there's this and this and so many. But when Ishvara Puri showed him his book, which also contained many grammatical mistakes, Mahaprabhu said, no, this is Pakka, because this is based on devotion, and there's no fault in that. So to teach us like that.
Prabhu, just want to know from you, we are daily studying Bhagavatam like Bhakti Vaibhava and all these things. Teachers are teaching Sandarbhas and Vyakaran also. So I just want to know from you, because you are a very senior and mature devotee, to how to keep all of us, our mood intact, that we should not go to any extreme, being a scholar, just to being a pandit, or at the same time, we have to be a genuine devotee, a follower of Mahaprabhu. Please say something, how to keep it.
You're asking me questions. By my adhikar, by my background and things, I'm not fit to come and clean the toilets here, do anything. And you're teaching so many things. I'm not a qualified person, but I can repeat what I've heard. We shouldn't have this abhiman, this upadi, this designation that I'm a scholar, that I'm a pandit. Mahaprabhu was teaching us, murkatumi. We should be a fool. So how do we manage to do that? And particularly, it's very dangerous. We were writing someone recently, if you're the most intelligent or most advanced person in the room, you're in the wrong room.